Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Lakshadweep tweet sparked off social media comments from Maldives. What happened and what's next as the diplomatic row unfolds? We explain.
So essentially, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he visited Lakshadweep in the last couple of days, and where he talked about promoting, tourism in Lakshadweep and encouraging people to go there and visit the islands. And now, after that, there was a lot of social media chatter about the fact that how Lakshadweep is a better destination as compared to Maldives, in terms of the clean beaches and really blue green water and really a picturesque location. So, as this social media chatter got some traction, then what happened was a few Maldivian ministers and MPs they sort of made comments about how the how the Maldives, how Lakshadweep is the movie. One of them said the movie is great. However, the idea of competing with us is delusional. How can they provide the service we offer? How can they be so clean? The permanent smell in the rooms will be the biggest downfall. Apart from that, the minister, she made some derogatory remarks about the prime minister, calling him a clown and a puppet. And she is actually a deputy minister at the Maldives Ministry of Youth Empowerment, Information and Art, as well as a spokesperson for the Malé City Council. So she later deleted her disparaging the social media posts. But then, by then, the Indian sort of social media had already, picked it up, and people were reacting, criticizing those comments. So, like this, another, Maldivian politician also flagged the challenges India faced in competing with Maldives in beach tourism. So essentially, these posts got a lot of criticism, and the as a result, the Indian High Commission in Malé, they raised the issue with the government in Maldives and Malé, and they expressed concerns about those comments made by not by some random people on social media, but who hold influential positions. They're ministers in the Maldives government. So the Indian High Commission in Malé raised this issue and expressed concerns. So that's what, in fact, later in the day, Maldives government on Sunday, without naming its ministers or Prime Minister Modi, said that the government of Maldives is aware of derogatory remarks on the social media platforms against foreign leaders and high ranking individuals. These opinions are personal and do not represent the views of the government of Maldives. So essentially, they tried to distance the government from these tweets, from the social media posts by the ministers and MPs. And it also said that the relevant authorities of the government will not hesitate to take action against those who make such derogatory remarks. So after that, these three ministers, they are Mariam Shuna, Malsha Sharif, and Mazoom Majid. These they were suspended with immediate effect. As you know, Maldives is a neighbor in India's vicinity in the Indian Ocean. It's one of the neighbors where India is always been the first responder. In terms of any distress or crisis. In fact, much of Maldives is, I mean, whatever essential commodities from food items to medicines to any essential supplies, they all go from India. And India has been a strategic, partner of Maldives in the last few decades. Despite the change in the governments, India has sort of, because for India's strategic security, maritime security, Maldives is an important partner, important player, important country in the Indian Ocean region. And because of its proximity to India's sort of maritime borders, it shares with India. India has has had very close defense relationship as well, and defense and security relationship as well. As you know, India has also given two helicopters and one aircraft along, and there are about 75 to 80 military personnel stationed in Maldives to operate, manage, service these aircraft as well as these two choppers. So from all these aspects, India's relationship with Maldives has been very strong, but there have been ups and downs in the relationship with change of government. Some governments have quoted China as well, and China has also tried to increase its strategic footprint in Maldives because of its strategic location of the islands, of this chain of islands. And so there has been a battle of influence between India and China in Maldives. So the previous government, which was led by President Ibrahim Mohammed Soli, he was very friendly towards India. And but the current government, which was in opposition back then, is seen as sort of pro-China. It in fact campaigned on a India out campaign, political campaign, and won the elections. And that was one of the major planks, apart from obviously anti-incumbency against the Soli government, the previous government. And ever since this particular government, led by President Mohammad Muizu, has come to power, they have sought to, firstly, they have asked India to withdraw the military personnel. Then they have moved to terminate one of the contracts, one of the agreements, 5-year agreements on surveying of water, ocean in the region. So, and it has also, President Muizu, a convention has been that Maldives presidents have chosen India as their first overseas destination whenever they've come to power. But this time, the current Maldives president, he has gone to Turkey, then went to the UAE for the climate change summit, and now he's on his visit on his trip to China. So India has not been his any of it has not been a destination for him so far, which is a bit unusual. And that's the nature of the relationship, how it has sort of moved from a very close strategic partnership to right now a government which has come on an India out campaign, and come to power on this, based on this campaign. And so that's what the state of play is. Before Ibu Soli was President Abdullah Yamin. And Abdullah Yamin, during his tenure, it was the government had, they had sort of a very hostile relationship with India. And at that point of time, China was again being wooed by Abdullah Yamin. And Abdullah Yamin had, quoted China very aggressively, and China had also tried to increase its strategic footprint. In fact, it is his political party's campaign, the opposition, when he was in the opposition in the last 5 years, when they campaigned on the India Out campaign. But Yamin was disqualified from contesting elections and therefore couldn't become a president. because of a corruption scandal, in Maldives. And so he sort of supported Mohammed Muizu, who used to be a junior minister, a minister in his cabinet, not a very prominent one, but a minister in his cabinet back in the day, for some time, and he was also a mayor of Male. So Muizu is seen as a protege of Yamin, Abdullah Yamin. So he's essentially carrying forward the policies or sort of the views of Abdullah Yamin. So that has been the nature of the relationship. Now we have to see, relationships have been developed over the last several decades, and Maldives, after all, is dependent on India for its, as I said, essential items, for its security as a first responder in disaster and distress. If you remember some years ago, when Maldives faced a water crisis, when a desalination plant sort of broke down in the island, and India had sent in fresh water, drinking water from India to Male, and they had airlifted, bottles and cans and gallons of water in the aircraft, and had supplied for the people of Maldives. So that kind of relationship has been there between India and Maldives. But we have to see how these incidents and this kind of rhetoric or anti-India sort of optics and statements, they play out between the two sides. One of the things that one has to look for is how the two sides respond in this kind of a situation, because right now I think there's a lot of social media. In the age of social media, it becomes difficult for governments to sort of not respond to what is happening on in that realm. So the Indian diplomats and the Maldivian diplomats, the governments, the state agencies, they will have to think very strategically and calmly about the consequences of such a rhetoric, which is against a country or against leaders of that country. So there's a need for a strategic maturity from both sides for to sort of to dial down the tension and bring the relationship back on track, and not hold it hostage because of these statements or comments or some ideas some people may have.